we got a good deal going on with Portia. Now, we had that inner circle session on Sunday, and we talked a lot about Portia's situation. Here's the funny part about this. I was supposed to call the bank day before yesterday, and I called the seller that same day after the Zoom. We negotiated a heck of a deal. So I didn't get to call the bank that day. Let's say that. I don't want to skip ahead too far, but I got to be a master negotiator already to deal with that. So she's already. How do you think that went, Portia? You went to the recorder's office, and that was after you had some troubles getting the document.
I had the original documents. Like I told you, I have a big binder. As you can see, I got gazillion documents in, right? I had already printed out my docs and everything. You know, I told you I was preparing Sunday night. And so with the sales and purchase agreement, Jerry had sent me the one because I couldn't find it in my docs. I'm like, it still had some information. It had the example. And then on the information, it still had like, please mortgage. I'm like, I cannot get her to sign this. This is not professional.
So on those documents, when you go into the inner circle steps, there's the cover sheet on each document that kind of describes what the document is and how to execute it. And then the first copy is an example with like the fleece mortgage and stuff like that in it. And then under that, there's a blank copy. Boom. That thing's all blank. So there's like 2 copies of each one. So that's for future reference for everybody.
Right. But the one that I had.
Yes. So we had to switch that up. We have that signed.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Okay.
I got everything that you asked me to get signed.
You called me, and as soon as you answered, you said, God is good. I said, so is. We got to some stuff now, because there's still a lot of
Absolutely.
I negotiated her that first day, talking to the wife. Here's the thing, guys. I call at 2 p.m. that day, because we did the negotiation at about 9 o'clock. 9:30, something like that. We were on for about a good hour. She said 20 to 25,000. When I said to her, and we've got the Zoom, I said to her, so, you know, at a certain point, I said, so it's kind of sounded like you had a place that you wanted to start. She said, yeah, I'm only at 20, 25,000. I was like, oh, cool. All right. So we're going on through the conversation. I just left that. I just let it sit there and then seen what was going on. I ended up giving her 25,000, 5,000 at closing. I could have given her 20, but there's so much equity in this thing. I didn't want to feel like, you know, a bad person. And she said, didn't she, Portia? When I asked her, so what are you going to do with the money? And she said, oh yeah, my boys are going to get a Christmas now. What did that make you think when she said that, Portia?
I can't believe she just said that she wanted to get the boys phones. I guess it must be iPhones or whatever. But that's what she specifically said. That I can have a Christmas now. I can get my boys their phones. So, I mean, hey, priorities.
I say live life. Now, I'm gonna live mine. You live yours, right? So I knew the 5,000, right? That's why I asked her. I asked her that question for a specific reason, though, because we've got to emphasize our role, and that's one of the negotiating principles. Is emphasizing our role, because the way that these things work, we're working with them for a moment in time, almost like a partnership, if you will. Now, if you don't handle this thing right, they might think that it is, because I called her at 2 o'clock. I negotiated $5,000, $300 a month for 66 and 2/3 months. First $300 payment is December 2nd. We're closing on November 2nd. Boom. So $20,000 seller finance, 0 interest. But I asked her the quintessential questions. Would a monthly income be a benefit to you? I asked her, y'all, about her car and how much her car payment was. And she told me. So that way, when I said the $300 a month, I put that together with the car. So that'll make your car payment $200 some dollars. You almost drive the car. I get on the phone with her, guys, and she's asking me questions and she's saying things. She says that she's smart. I'm smart. I'm smart at things like this. I'm not smart at, something else, she said. And I'm like, oh shit. When she says this, I know that she wants to stay in. She wants to stay. But when I say stay in, I tell her, I say, listen, I'm going to need a verbal authorization. I tell her, you can stay if you want, or you can just go about your day. I said, but I'll take over from there. You can stay and listen. I don't care at the first call. I don't. On the first call, I've got to shoot broadly at the bank. And so I'm not getting too specific where I'm telling her, hey, why don't you get this? Why don't you get a forbearance? have you gotten of forbearance? I never asked that question, y'all. So if anybody is, please stop. We'll handle that because they're going to try to play him out of it anyway. So I end up not calling the lender though, because me and her were on the phone for so long because I could tell from her questions that we was going to talk. I made a decision in my mind. Like I snapped at them. I'm like, I'm not talking to the lender tonight. So there's going to be a point. This is what I'm telling myself early on. There's going to be a point where I'm going to have to end this call and then set up the appointment for early in the morning to give me that verbal authorization. So I got to pick my spot. I went back to the money and Christmas. And what was you getting again? And boom. And so now she's all in. And if, person, like that, they just go mess the situation up. This is why removal of the prospect is so very important. And letting us be the real estate professionals that we are, but real estate crisis intervention specialists. We got to live that. We got to be that. We got to become that. If we are that, then we remove them from the situation because they don't know anything about real estate. They're not sitting here on a Wednesday night listening to all this nerdy shit. We are. And we're doing it for a reason. So removing them allows us to move freely and really wield the fucking authority that we walk with around here. Real talk now, because when you wield it right, you wield this shit with authority.